officers with shields within the last 5 minutes. Things have really, really taken a turn. 5-10 minutes ago, we were talking with families about what they were doing, what message that they wanted their children to take away, and now we're seeing protesters throw water bottles, throw their signs, throw backpacks. Protesters amongst themselves have gotten into fistfights. So things have really taken a turn within the last few minutes here. I'm going to let you guys listen in. They're chanting "No justice, no peace," which is what a lot of the signs say out here as well. And they have water right in front of me right now. There's a pack of water bottles. People are coming up and grabbing them. It looks like someone. Did you get tear gas? So protesters were getting tear gas. So whenever we saw that crowd run away really quickly, just a few minutes ago, protesters appear to have been tear gassed. You can see this guy is washing his eyes out right now. And I asked some of his friends, did he get tear gas? And they said yes. So that happened just within the few minutes. So things have just really taken a turn and escalated, because up until this point, we've been out here for hours. Things have just been extremely peaceful. Let you guys listen in on what exactly is going on here. Okay, and we're hearing too, it may not be, it could be pepper spray is what could be in some of these bags. Again, we are in Lafayette Square. This is right in front of the White House. This is as close as the protesters can get to the White House. And their protesters now are up against a barricade. On the other side of that barricade are park police with shields. I can't see them anymore because the crowd has grown so large. And within the last 5 minutes, if you guys are just tuning in, it went from really peaceful and quiet to then protesters started throwing water bottles and opening bottles and spraying them with water. And I just saw something fly through the air. Oh, I've seen more water bottles getting thrown at the officers. I've seen backpacks get thrown and signs, multiple things throwing them at the officers and chanting, "Hands up, don't shoot." And then a few minutes or moments after that, a pepper spray or tear gas or something was shot out, according to people here on the ground, rinsing their eyes out. So things have just really taken a turn. Again, we are as close as we can get to the White House. We are technically in front of the White House, as close as we can be to that. And people have been out here all day long, since late this morning at least. And it's been very peaceful. We've talked with families who wanted their children to see what's going on and have these tough conversations and know that there can be hope. We've also talked to people who are native Washingtonians, and they're tired. Everything has just built up to this moment. And that's why some of the people that we talked to are out here. So, and it's been really peaceful until this point. And again, still peaceful, just seeing a lot of items getting thrown at officers, constant things getting thrown. And then within the last few minutes, someone got tear gas or pepper spray or something in their eyes. So I just saw you a few minutes ago. What happened with your friend? Walk me through what happened, because let everyone know, until this point, people were pushing forward, and then all of a sudden people came running back. What happened?
So I actually wasn't standing right next to him. I came over and saw that he had been mazed. I heard his friend or his partner telling the story that essentially was by the barricade. The police were pushing back, and he was trying to back up, and he got maced right in the face. So now he's trying to flush out his eyes with water. I know some other supporters over there have some milk. I gave him some new masks. His mask is all wet. So I don't know the full story, but we're just kind of out here trying to help as we can.
How have things changed in the last 10 minutes?
I think it's gotten a little more tense. I got here not too long ago. It was very calm. Probably about 10 minutes ago, there was a rush of people running away from the barricades. If you want to go talk to him, obviously go ahead. But I think that it's gotten a little more tense. I've seen some bottles thrown. I've seen kind of a lot of movement away from the barricades. So, yeah.
And what motivates you to want to come out here?
I just can't stand by and watch this violence happen to my fellow Americans. I'm out here handing out masks because coronavirus is still very prevalent in DC. It's affecting our Black neighbors more than anyone else. And so I want people to be safe. I want people to have their voices heard. Especially after seeing the president's responses to the devastation that's been happening in our country, I couldn't stay home.
Being out here now, what is it like for you?
It's been very emotional. I'm obviously speaking from a place of privilege where, I'm a white woman and I don't have to fear for my life on a daily basis. And so I'm happy to see so many allies out here standing with our Black neighbors and our neighbors of color. And I just hope the momentum continues because this has to change and it's going to take more than a few protests over a week's time.
And what message do you hope people have after the weekend is over?
I mean, I have my other sign here, which I was kind of worried was too extreme, but I mean, getting murdered is a bit extreme. So I think this is my message. Until the good cops are marching with us, there are no good cops. So we hear this kind of dichotomy between good cops and bad cops. It's beyond that. It's systemic. It has to change. And until everyone's out here standing up and saying this is not okay, it's not enough.
Well, thank you so much. Are you from around here? Are you local?
Yeah, I live in DC. I live in the Shaw neighborhood.
Well, thank you so much. What was your name?
My name is Courtney.
Courtney? Yeah. Thank you, Courtney. Stay safe. So we just heard from her. She's out here. She felt she had no choice. She can't stand by and watch this any longer, but brought masks because, again, we are in a pandemic and people at this protest clearly not social distancing, but a lot of these people, myself and everyone included, we are wearing masks, but again, the proximity, you can see for yourself. And again, that's why signs are so important because a lot of people, it's a little harder to talk with the mask on. That's why so many masks up as well help get points across. And if you're watching now, we are in Lafayette Square, and things are relatively more quiet than they were. It got a little tense about 5 to 10 minutes or so. And within the last 5 to 10 minutes, we saw bottles getting thrown at officers. We saw people throwing backpacks at officers. Where we are standing right now was completely barricaded as of about an hour or so ago. But protesters have since pushed down that barricade. It's just a few feet back. And now there's a second barricade as well, which is where they're up against now. And officers, park police, are standing on the other side of that barricade. And that's when some of that escalation happened, whenever protesters started throwing things, and then mace or pepper spray or something, tear gas was sent out. We saw a man come over here and flush his eyes out with milk and with water. And it looked like he could not see, visibly looked to be in pain, and eyes watering and face was red. And then we just talked with a girl who watched him run up and said, yeah, he believed he got tear gas or something. Now it appears that park police are asking people to step back so they don't break their police line. And so park police they have a speakerphone saying, please do not break our police line. And our Charlotte McBride, she just talked with the man who he says that got tear gas or mace or what exactly happened. And leading up to that moment, let me paint the picture. things got a little tense. Protesters got up to that police line. Protesters were throwing things, and then police responded by spraying something. What did he describe? Right. He said he described that he was right up there on the line, and it was very, very peaceful from his mind. He said he had his hands up. He was just chanting with the rest of the crowd. He was not doing anything that he felt was crossing a line at all. And then he says he heard a police officer say, "Get him high," and he sprayed it directly into his eyes. He didn't even have a moment to react. So he's very shaken up right now. He was crying just now when I was speaking with him. He obviously is shaken up by this, and he had some milk. He was trying to splash in his eyes some water, as we saw earlier. Just obviously, he's taking a step back, and he's also very confused. His girlfriend was with him as well. She's very confused.
Oh my God.
They didn't even hold up a sign or anything, so I think they're just concerned that it was, directly into his eyes. And
I hope y'all listening to who's placing and doing all the finger pointing. We ain't talking about the protests or nothing. We're talking about people being maced. You're talking about people's sisters and brothers.
Did he know, or I'm sure he said it was just also an instant mist, and he looked him right in the eye and he said, "Aim high."
So we're talking about a protest, man. It's gonna happen. Come on now. Stop tripping.
Now we're hearing people clapping.
You're gonna protest, man.
Letting you guys listen in on what's happening here. Again, we are in Lafayette Square. This is as close as you can get to the White House. And now protesters are chanting George Floyd. And a lot of the signs here say their name, and Black Lives Matter, no justice, no peace. A lot, looking out into the crowd right now, a majority of the signs that I'm reading say Black Lives Matter and end police brutality. And again, if you're just joining us on Facebook, this is the protest down right in front of the White House. And we are going to, I'm here with Charlotte McBride, and I'm going to hand things off to her in just a moment. And within the last 10 minutes or so, and within the last minute or two, Charlotte, you talked with someone who was pepper sprayed or had some sort of mist get shot into his eye, and you talked directly with him. Walk us through what he said. He was crying when I spoke with him. He is upset. He doesn't understand what he did. He said he was not being violent at all. He was not trying to yell or anything, and he was really shaken up. At one point, he was telling me that he thought someone had dropped something over the barrier, was asking to pick it up. The cop asked him to step back. He did, but he had his hands up. And that is when he heard one police officer yell, "Aim high." And at that moment, that is when he was sprayed directly in the face. He's not sure exactly what substance it was. He was calling it mace. It could have been tear gas. He's not quite sure. But at that moment, he obviously needed to get out of here. And someone else gave him a jug of milk. And he's just been pouring that in his face right now, I think, to try to get a little bit of that sting out. He's just one person that we've seen. When that happened, Colby and I were here, and I was breathing it in, and we could kind of feel that sting a little bit.
I'm just wondering where all the protesters at that's protesting the actual incident that happened. Not people being sprayed in the freaking face with OC spray or pepper spray.
And now, obviously, the crowd is continuing to grow, and people just seem a little more angry, especially at that last time when they said
they're not even talking to the people and getting their side of the story on how they feel about the protests. We're getting people who are feeling some type of way about being sprayed in the eye.
We're also seeing a lot more people with signs show up right now, and a lot of different type of signs. Obviously, the Black Lives Matter sign are prevalent here, but I think a lot more people are starting to show up as it gets to be dusk. We're going to take a little walk around. We're going away from the chanting a little bit over here.
people seem to be sitting down a little more calm in this area as we go towards 15th Street.
Yeah, go where it's calm. We don't want you to be in the heart of the protest. That's too dangerous. Yeah.
We have seen people
She didn't walk nowhere.
with spray paint earlier, and I think we can still smell it a little bit as well in the air. People are starting to cheer over here on this side. Thanks, Kobe's helping me out here.
So you went from spray paint to freaking cheering.
A woman just walked by us just now.
She don't know what she want to report on.
Looks like they're in it, for the long haul. I think as the crowd grows, a lot of people are going to continue staying here throughout the evening. I don't have any ISD with me, but I'll just keep talking to you guys here what we're seeing. If you guys want to take a walk more inside and around, we can see people have climbed up there. Those people have been up here since we have been here as well. And again, this side has been more peaceful, it seems like. We really haven't seen too much of anything, just signs and just chanting, and actually a lot of cheering. And the cheering is very positive. I think when people are coming around and we've seen a lot of people hugging over here and cheering, and they're in this together. We're gonna take a little walk.
I'm gonna switch to a different station.
Down this way. It's gotten very silent.
Y'all give me a minute.
Are going through, what we're experiencing in our lives, because a lot of them were telling stories about how
Department did provide backup to Beverly Hills last evening, and so we're in communication with all of the West Side cities and the surrounding area. And if anything changes, we will do what we need to do to make sure that residents in our community are safe.
At this point, this is the fourth day of this. It started on Thursday night here in Southern California. Started in downtown Los Angeles, continued there on Friday night. Then it moved into the Fairfax district, still in the city of Los Angeles. A little bit of trouble where you are, also in Beverly Hills. We saw people outside the Beverly Wilshire Hotel, some trying to go in there and loot. We saw some looting on Rodeo Drive, right next door to you. Do you think at this point that after today and tonight, maybe this ends, or do you think it's going to continue? And what do you think at this point it's going to take to stop it?
Well, I think what is fueling a lot of the anger and a lot of the frustration is
I just want to let you know that's the distortion in it is absolutely due to the streaming process, because
communities in and around not only Los Angeles, but
where I'm basically sourcing it from is clear. So it's some type of interruption or a
will likely continue if people aren't getting the message. And I know that we're having important conversations in our community in the city of West Hollywood, but those conversations need to lead to action. And I think that's what people are really hoping for right now. That is their message. And I think that's what needs to happen. We're hoping that
this has to be within the feed itself, dealing with streaming to social media platforms, because where I'm sourcing it from is absolutely clear. But when it's shown on Facebook, on YouTube and everything, it's like below standard definition. I'm going to refresh it right quick.
But we know that there's a lot that is at the root of what's going on. We know that there's a disproportionate rate of incarceration for Black people. There's a disproportionate rate of contraction of COVID for Black people.
What's going on, sir? Ken, how you feel, man?
Of police brutality against
Salute
Black
to you.
people. These things need to stop. And that's what I hear at the core of the conversation that's happening. And so it's our responsibility to take action.
And they're bringing this in just wicked.
I've had a conversation where I've actually compared two different places I've lived and worked. One is here in greater Los Angeles, and the other is New York City. New York City, much more compacted. The Upper East Side and the Upper West Side, goes right up to Harlem, and people of different races, they have to interact more because of geography. They're too close. They're so close together that they actually probably get to know each other a little bit more as human beings. Where, I've said to friends that here in Los Angeles, people that don't have a lot of means, they can see it right in front of them. All they got to do is look up in the Hollywood Hills, and they can, from South Los Angeles, you can look up and you can see the wealth in front of you, but you don't know those people. It's almost like they're in different bubbles. Do you think that's could be a lot of the problem here in greater Los Angeles area? The fact that there is a disparity in the haves and the have-nots, but they don't interact enough because people are living in their bubbles?
There is a disparity between the haves and have-nots, but racism isn't.
What's going on, D. Hodges?
Racism has a lot of other root causes, and we do need to do a better job of listening to the concerns of people who are most at risk and most vulnerable. We are seeing that there are communities of color that don't have access to healthcare, to testing, and so they're contracting COVID and spreading COVID and unable to protect themselves. Meanwhile, they are disproportionately the people who are working on the front lines in essential work that people need to be able to get their groceries, to deliver, to send mail, to communicate with people. And so we're asking communities of color and Black people in particular to take on roles in our everyday society without offering the help and protection that they need. And I think that's what I hear the community saying. I'm trying to do my part by listening because I think there's a lot that's being said right now, and it's important for us to really hear the message. What we do know is that people are speaking up and speaking out, but we are not creating a safe place for vandalism, for burglary. We want to keep people safe in our community. That's part of the reason we instituted the curfew in West Hollywood. We also know that not everybody is safe at home, and so we're asking people to reach out to Peace Over Violence or the National Domestic Violence Hotline to make sure that you do have the resources and support that you need in this difficult time. But we do need to really listen to each other, and people are trying to.
This is West Coast protests.
When people aren't being heard,
There was on Washington, D.C. protests, but this is the West Coast now, Cali. Just give me a minute. I'm trying to bring it back because that feed was just nasty.
The exact same things being said in the same latitudes, but here we are again. So what can be done to make it different this time?
Well, not enough action was taken since that time. We still see the disproportionate numbers of, as I mentioned, of incarceration, of arrests, and I think we need to have conversations about what is at the cause of that, but then we also need to take action. One of the things that I hear
Very peaceful protest march in Flint last night. Speeches of both citizens and police were arm in arm as they marched. That's the way it's supposed to be.
What we witnessed in the George Floyd.
But you got interworkings now. You have Antifa. You have all these other subgroups, these microcosms that are coming in here in the midst of chaos and tagging buildings with Black Lives Matter and all this hateful content towards law enforcement office, as if the protest is directing that message out to every law enforcement. And that's called deception, lies.
Okay.
Those individuals just taking totally advantage of just trying to cause a race war. Just trying to take the light off what the officer actually did. The people that's looting out there of all races.
All right, back to some live images. You are looking here now on the right side of your screen. I'm told this is in downtown Los Angeles, so things are starting to unfortunately heat up in downtown LA, which is actually suffered the brunt of most of the damage that we've seen, as well as the Fairfax district. LAPD moving in, and again in the city of Los Angeles, the National Guard is on standby and ready to go. And my monitor's a little small, but I'm assuming from this point that would be LAPD officers at this point. I don't think that is the National Guard. It'd be a little hard to tell. My eyesight needs to be a little bit better. But again, and on the other side of the screen, well, this is downtown Los Angeles.
Just a little hint on National Guard. They might be ready, but some of these individuals get the call up. They may not be prepared for the intensity that they're about to experience. Being in the core of these protests with angry civilians. So law enforcement, to a point, may be more suited for the readiness than the National Guard. I'm just being honest. This is what I know.
The time now is 3:01. Again, there's a curfew starting at 4 o'clock in Santa Monica. Most of the other towns are starting theirs at 8 o'clock tonight. Beverly Hills also 4 o'clock, by the way. But this is downtown Los Angeles, where the curfew tonight begins at 8 o'clock. And right now we're going to go to Santa Monica, and our Christina Pascucci is joining us now on the telephone. Christina, where are you?
Hey, wow. We're in Santa Monica in seconds. There's an Equinox there at that corner that's boarded up, and right across the way, there's a Converse store that the front window of it just been smashed and looted, and it is complete mayhem out here right now.
So this is in Santa Monica, where things need to be cleared out by 4 o'clock. So that's probably not going to happen.
I don't know. People are running through the streets. I guess there's a few officers that's in riot here by 3rd Street Promenade. I think that was a big concern for them.
I mean, where her feed at?
And I just went to them and I said, "Are you going to do anything? Is there anything you can do about that?" They're looting like 50 feet away from these officers, and they're prepare for more of the city to be like that. There's nothing that we can't do.
I mean, what the live feed at then if they looting?
There's been dozens of people jumping in and out of this store, grabbing boxes, getting a bag, jumping in to get more stuff, running down. There's a flash thing that just went off. Traffic is.
That's the only footage y'all got. Aerial footage. That's it.
And they're all wearing hoodies, faces covered, jumping in, getting boxes.
People leaving their cars in the street to go loot. That's sending a bad message, man. This is chaos. There's about to be martial law up in here. This was talked about a couple of months ago that we was close to martial law, and people didn't really take consideration of how serious it was because we was in a pandemic. The pandemic, the concern for that is expired. No one's talking about the pandemic right now. They're talking about this. People are here looting, getting clothes, man. It's almost like freaking. This is absolute juvenility, mayhem. It has nothing to do with the protests. George Floyd didn't tell these people to go out here and break in the stores and break window. And then also you have to take in consideration these individuals are running out the store like, damn, they're not marching, they stealing now. I ain't gonna lie, they stealing. I don't care what nobody say. This is what happened when you underestimate certain things that's going on politically, and then you find out the peace officers are outnumbered when you get a group of civilians banding together. Now, of course, it would have been great if they was marching peacefully, but now you're getting people just joining in on a group and looting. You know what I'm saying? Like, this has nothing to do with George Floyd, who was killed. Nothing at all. Now it's turned into a jungle. You got motherfuckers just running around here stealing shit. And the only reason they doing it is because they're in a huge group and they're not really arresting everybody. They don't have the manpower to.
It just seems like it's getting more and more tense.
I'm curious as to why you went into the protest. I mean, were you protesting peacefully with everyone for the cause, or were you going down there as
a reporter to check it out? And, are you fearful at all?
Oh, really? Where? Sorry, someone's coming over to me and saying people were shot. Thank you, I appreciate it. Stay safe, okay? We were down here, yes.
Man, them cats, whoever they are, they running out with arms full of clothes, merchandise.
I know, so they just may have.
I don't really care about the business or whatever. It's not, I can't, I'm not going to make this live about business. I'm really talking about the protest, but they was talking about martial law not too long ago. This is going to turn into that martial law type of deal. And even that's going to be extreme bias because you have plants. You have plants in there inciting. You know what I'm saying? They're inciting these riots and looting. It's been proven already. You have people that's just writing shit on the wall, tagging shit. They not even black. They just up here just breaking windows and just doing what the fuck they want to do. They're just trying to send a different message, man, and make it about race. Just make this whole entire thing. And when it should be about protesting the death of George Floyd, who's a black man.
Okay, did you hear that? Yeah, what was that? It was just some sort of flash thing. I think that the cops, I'm about a block away now.
Don't blame it on us. It ain't just us out there freaking looting. It ain't just us. When all this shit clears up, don't jump on here talking about it was nothing but blacks in the street. These are retread feeds, man. They talking about this live feed. This shit is.
Earlier, people knelt down in solidarity and silence, and it was so powerful. It was so peaceful.
They're recycling feeds, man.
Right. Well, stay safe. And if you see anything else, can send us some video. But I know you, Christina. I feel like you want to be down there in the middle of the action.
Man, she don't want to be down there. She would have went down there. Stop playing. She ain't trying to go down there. She's scared. That's why y'all recycling feeds, man. Y'all saying this shit live, and you keep on showing the same people looting.
Christina, thanks so much. We're still looking overhead of Santa Monica, but I did want to point out something that's happening down in Huntington Beach.
Eric Jenkins in the building. Salute, man.
About 500 people protesting at the Huntington Pier there, and that has been deemed an unlawful assembly. That happened around 1 o'clock. There was some verbal arguing. People were blocking traffic. There have been.
What is that law enforcement officer doing?
And now let's pull it back to Santa Monica.
Dang, they came in. Watch this. Watch this vehicle that's gonna be on the live feed that approaches and then back up and speeds off.
Glenn and I have been switching off on our.
It's about you see at the bottom of the stream. Look at that.
Larry, well, are you up?
They came into view. Look how fast they get up out of there. What is that for? Like, what are you doing?
No communication with Larry. We'll have Derek Bell probably in about another.
I don't get what that was about.
We're sharing these.
You're gonna come in there.
Some other news outlets here in the city.
Right, and I believe we were sharing video on the ground.
You got some hostile individuals, some pissed off individuals in every crowd in every region, man. But they're making it about hate, just looting, throwing rocks, projecting all this towards law enforcement. It's not Black Lives Matter. It's not freaking Black Panther. It's not any of these groups. It's the protesters themselves that really have a small percentage of interest in this whole thing, except to be a part of something, to go out there knowing that the potential for them to be caught going in and out of a store or whatever the case may be is very small because there's so many people. So long as you scatter and you can run away, then you might just get away until all this dies down. They start searching through footage. You know what I'm saying? But this ain't no protest. I mean, breaking into Foot Locker and looting malls and shit, that ain't protest. That's stealing. He said a lot of these folks are inciting the riot factor. They're not protesters. Man, yeah, that's all they doing, man. They're basically instigating, they're inciting shit. You know, you got people outside of blacks tagging walls and stuff, talking about Black Lives Matter and F law enforcement. And I'm like, and you know the ladies up there asking, why are y'all doing that? Why are y'all putting that stuff on the wall? Y'all sitting up here just adding fuel to the opposite side of what the protest is for. Y'all just trying to have other people believe that the whole entire influence of what you seeing here, the destruction and everything, was started by blacks, just because George Floyd death. But yet you have all races out here, man. Don't say otherwise. You have all races out here just stealing shit out of stores, being violent, inciting freaking riots, you know, damaging law enforcement, damaging people's businesses. It don't matter if you're a black business owner or white business owner. They out here interrupting. They out here destroying freaking property because in numbers, when you got numbers, there's a whole different story. When you have numbers on your side, it's a whole different story. It's difficult to just arrest a whole group of people and keep a barrier up there and say, everybody that's inside this barrier, we're going to arrest you. It's not going to happen. Not when people are throwing rocks, bricks. Down here in Atlanta, they up there putting look, they out here putting pallets of bricks next to the CNN Center to give people, you know, ammo, extra fuel to go out here and grab these big ass. I'm talking about these big bricks to start damaging the CNN, all because of their reporting of this protest. Someone dropped off pallets of bricks near the CNN building in Atlanta. Ted Turner's a staple in the ATL. It's going to be difficult to go up in there and loot. I'll tell you that right now. Somebody going to lose their life.
We can only guess at this point whether or not that is under control. Time will tell. Meantime, this is a card.
And these people just going in here getting merchandise right. They're not even freaking covered up. A lot of, you know, some of these people face not covered, nothing. They just walking up and saying, shit, that wasn't me. I guess they're going to say, oh, that wasn't me right there. Why people driving cars through the streets down here, I really don't know. It doesn't make any sense. People, innocent bystanders, are being snatched out of cars in certain areas, being harmed, injured, being attacked, and they have absolutely nothing to do with anything. You got some foolish individuals that's sitting up here just trying to snatch somebody out the car. I tell you, I ain't gonna say shit.
Protesters were on the freeway and they moved up to the
right there doing this across the country. I'm in Philly. We have been put on curfew. Yeah, I heard about that curfew, man. I think y'all on curfew to 6 a.m. What time did curfew start? That's exactly right. They're looting in broad daylight, people. They looting in broad daylight. If you thought a stimulus check was something that you was yearning for, that one stimulus check that people was yearning for, you better understand that who we have in office is going to pick and choose who he believes is liable for what's going on out here. He's gonna say, well, from what I seen, y'all don't want any stimulus check. Y'all have merchandise you didn't buy. You was out here ruining people's business. Guess what? I'm not helping out the community, and that's gonna destroy us, man. We're in a bad place right now. Real talk. We're in a bad place. I don't think we're gonna get any more stimulus help, man, for this economy with businesses being raided. You're gonna see a lot of empty businesses now, all because you have people looting and stealing their merchandise, man. Y'all don't understand how deep this shit is right now. This shit is deep. Absolutely deep.
And they're here indefinitely. Hopefully not too long, according to Chief Moore.
That may look like a little crowd, but shit, good boots on the ground. It's gonna be a lot larger than what you think.
They're supposed to be here to protect businesses primarily, but
That's the result. The orders are going to be put in place.
play that tape back, but
Oh, it started 6 p.m. Yeah, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. I think. So the curfews they saying
that's why
you're looking at right now.
throwing things at the car, and
Why?
might have looked intentional. So we hopefully can play that back.
Why are they throwing stuff at people's vehicles, man?
I caught the tail end of it spinning around and then items being thrown.
This is turned goddamn vigilante, animalistic, archaic, barbaric, all that shit, man. This is what it's turned into now.
But
And it's in places that you didn't think would happen.
Has been peaceful, and I know you were mentioning earlier, Glenn, that you saw some videos of even people from Black Lives Matter telling the looters or people acting, not in a civil way, that they're doing a disservice to the message, and certainly these opportunists who are stealing things, are not sending the best memory to George Floyd. It's not in honor of him anymore. We of course all want change after seeing that video of him dying. It was just awful.
Well, that's what always happens. People always try to take advantage of the situation, or a group of people always try to take advantage of the situation. And, we saw it especially last night in the Fairfax district, as well as Rodeo Drive. And, resources get spread, and it's really tough for the police to get a handle on it. And that's even a department the size of the LAPD. And that's when you end up having to call in the National Guard. And it's, you just keep your fingers crossed about what could potentially happen tonight. And you just don't know. Things could get worse. They could get better. But at this point, the odds are it's not going to get better.
No, however, we will see what happens at 4:00, which is just under 45 minutes, when two cities, West Hollywood, where there wasn't too much action happening, and Santa Monica, where we did see, and you can see on the right of your screen, Santa Monica Place, that mall had some issues with people just running into, most likely, the Nordstrom. That's the closest store right there, and just coming out with piles of jeans and bags, and then just jumping into cars and going away. We do have Derek Bell now with us over Santa Monica. So what are you seeing, Derek?
That's right, Ocean Boulevard, just a little bit north of where the Santa Monica Pier connects with Ocean Boulevard. As you can see, we've still got a crowd here. It has been called an illegal gathering right now. The Santa Monica Police Department has moved a number of vehicles there at the top of the screen. They are confronting those people here, but this is the peaceful protest portion of what's going on here in Santa Monica. The LAPD has moved in with Redondo Beach Police Department and also Beverly Hills Police Department, we understand, also to really bolster the police presence here in Santa Monica. That seems to have calmed things down rather dramatically. We don't know what the next move for the police is going to be right now, whether they're going to disperse this crowd or let the crowd just kind of filter out on its own. We're just going to have to wait and see. Now let's pan over to the left. One block there, Josh. We're going to see that we have a much bigger police presence. Just tilt up just a little bit right in there. That's where we saw some of the looting earlier as they went into the Santa Monica, some of the shopping complexes here in Santa Monica. And apparently they have put down a complete police presence there. We're not looking at the right place there. Tilt down here just a little bit, Josh, here across the freeway, and right in there to the left there, push in right in there. As you can see, we've got police presence right there. No more people running in and out of that area. As a matter of fact, they've got those streets completely blocked off, and officers that are moving about on the sidewalks as well. So that area has been secured from some of the looting that has occurred earlier. Now, likewise, they shut down some of the off-ramps that feed into Santa Monica. At one point, we heard one of the commanders say, "I want to seal off all entrances into Santa Monica." Apparently, there were people coming in to join the group that was here, the protesters, but their aim appeared to be just to do some looting. So they decided they were going to just stop that and see what happened. As you can see, things have calmed down rather dramatically right now. The police presence has really had its effect. So things have really calmed down here in the city of Santa Monica. We heard that they were planning to have a curfew in the city of Santa Monica beginning at 4 p.m. We're not sure if that is still in place or not, but far fewer people are moving around. Now we understand that there are
$100. Okay.
4th and Broadway right now, and we're going to try and maneuver around here just a little bit here to see if that is still going on.
And they're locking people up for 24 hours. I can't imagine how that sale is, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be plenty of people getting locked up.
The packaging from some of those items, that merchandise.
It's like this don't even have anything to do with a protest, man.
Those stores here, we're trying to listen and see what's going on here at the same time. We do still see people here that are kind of standing about. We saw earlier.
And you know Santa Monica. I've been in Santa Monica, man. They have some very nice stores on the strip. Very nice stores. I'm amazed. Well, I can't understand why they hit Santa Monica, because the police presence there is very small for a crowd of this magnitude with this type of intention. You know what I'm saying? I can understand why they went there, because you don't see this in Santa Monica.
As we pan across here, you can see the distance we're talking about, only about 2 blocks, and those people holding their signs and protesting without incident, I should say, over there on Ocean Boulevard. So things are starting to calm down here in Santa Monica due to the massive police presence that has been brought in from multi-agencies in the area, and we're going to stay overhead and see what develops next if they go through that curfew and how they go about enforcing that. So overhead, this is Derek Bell. Back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Derek. As we keep continue to look at these images, what's interesting about Santa Monica, the last time we had a shot of where the protesters had kind of been moved into that area of Colorado and Ocean Avenue, was a really large crowd. It is dispersed, but again, we still have mayhem going on in other parts. We had Christina Pascucci on the telephone. She was outside the Converse store, which was being looted. We've heard of other stores. Of course, we saw the images from Santa Monica Place getting looted a couple of hours ago. So,
well, likely people are leaving the area in Santa Monica because there is this 4 p.m. curfew, and they can be arrested for being out after it. And we want to talk to Sheriff Alex Villanueva. And I heard you talking about it earlier, how the curfew helped you last night as opposed to Friday night, right?
Yes, the curfew, we're putting one scheduled for the entire county. It's going to be from 6 p.m. tonight to 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. And it's a useful tool to separate people who have a legitimate reason to be somewhere and the crowd that they're unlawfully protesting.
Well, Sheriff, at this point, it doesn't look like things are any better today than they were last night. It's just the mayhem and the looting is taking place in a different location.
Well, we're shifting our tactics to correspond with the shift of the unlawful assembly. Unfortunately, we're getting word that it is a lot of out-of-towners that have descended on our county to engage in this type of criminal behavior, and we have to separate them from the peaceful protesters that have a legitimate reason to protest. This crowd is not there, have anything to do with George Floyd.
So who are these out-of-towners?
We're going to make it known.
We keep hearing about these out-of-towners. Who are these people?
Well, you have the Antifa crowd, you have anarchists, you have all these different groups that are dedicated to gravitate towards places where there's a lot of conflict, and that's what they thrive on. And these people are driving around, they're caravanning, and we're going to be intercepting them, and we'll be definitely making a lot of arrests.
Well, you mentioned Antifa, and the president announced that they are now labeled as a domestic terrorist group. That being the case, if you apprehend some of these people, what is the difference between them getting arrested before they were labeled and now that they are labeled as a domestic terrorist group?
Well, we're focusing on local charges, not federal charges. We leave that up to the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office if they want to prosecute federally, but we have our hands full to prosecute locally.
Are you finding that they're communicating mainly on social media? Like, how are they getting the word out? Like, a word text message, like, come here, come there.
Yeah, they have them in their text group. They're using all of the social media platforms available. And not surprising, it facilitates it, unfortunately. That's one of the downsides of today's IT world.
You know, there's been a lot of social media of celebrities. I'm not going to name any names. I think everybody knows who I'm talking about. There's been several of them. Have kind of egged these people on in some respects, saying, hey, you know, we'll pay your bail if you get in trouble. What is your reaction to that? That's certainly not helping law enforcement.
Not at all. And any kind of a notion like that that's egging people on, one, it's pathetic, it's irresponsible, because are they going to pay the livelihood and the job?
They want to say Colin Kaepernick. That's who they want to see, but he don't have nothing to do with that. He only said he'll pay the bail to the protesters in Minnesota. That's it. They're in fucking Santa Monica, and he tried to bring Kaepernick into it. Dumbass.
I'm curious, in a few days down the road, how do you go about prosecuting these people? Like, do you use news footage, or are you able to like ping people's phones in the area and match it up? Like, how long of a process is that?
We'll be matching up the evidence that we have at the time that we make the arrest. And we have surveillance footage, obviously, from multiple sources. We have social media images and the hard evidence, for example, the observations of the deputies, the officers at the scene of, for example, a looting. So it's not that difficult.
And where do we stand on the 500 National Guard troops that you had requested last night? Have you been granted them yet?
We've already been meeting with National Guard leadership. In fact, we had a meeting just a couple hours ago, and now we're deploying them on specific missions that are within their authority.
So how does that work? Is that up to? I mean, I know you coordinate with them, but who has the final call on where they go and how they're implemented?
That's up to myself as the director, the mutual aid coordinator for this region. And we're deploying some to assist LAPD in their mission. We're deploying our 500 across the county in different areas. And they'll be very busy.
I'm curious on a personal level, what the stress you're going through, seeing all these images and, you know, talking with people in Los Angeles. It's heartbreaking. And you're a person too, and you have feelings. So that's why I wanted to ask you about that.
Well, it breaks my heart because I love the LA, I love this county, and being able to represent the county and provide for public safety is an honor, it's a privilege. But to have people just deliberately taking out people's livelihoods, damaging property, and all trying, you know, masquerade themselves as somehow to get back at the senseless, the slaughter of George Floyd, that just doesn't cut it. And I disagree entirely with that entire premise. We can reform the system. We have been doing major reforms for the system. The murder of George Floyd was a step backwards. It was a step backwards for the city of Minneapolis. But for the nation, for all the organizations like the Sheriff's Department, we've been involved in massive reform efforts and transparency projects. We're doing everything we can to make sure the community trusts our department. And it's a two-way street. This really undermines that.
Are you getting any advice from any other sheriffs across the country? Because LA, unfortunately, is not the only city to see all of this violence and looting. So are you guys kind of in communication at all?
Well, we have a major county sheriff's association, so we have a lot of communication via email, and we're learning, you know, lessons learned from everyone's different experiences throughout the nation, and it's useful information. And we understand the tactics employed by the professional protesters, and it's a learning process, and we keep shifting our tactics to conform with what the rioters and the looters are doing, and hopefully we'll get ahead of them.
So we've seen a lot of problems in Santa Monica today, especially this afternoon. Now they're starting to get protesters gathering in the Pershing Square area in downtown Los Angeles. I know that's within the city's jurisdiction, but it looks like there could be more trouble in downtown LA tonight.
Well, we'll be ready. We're here to assist the LAPD, and where they run out of people, we're going to be more than happy. We will step in and fill the void and make sure that lawlessness and looting is not tolerated.
All right, LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva, a busy 4 days for you and your department, as well as every other law enforcement agency here in Southern California and across the country.
Thanks for talking with us.
Yeah, we'll keep your fingers crossed for you tonight. It looks like it might be a long one. Thank you, Sheriff.
All right, I appreciate you guys.
All right, let's check back up with Derek Bell if he is available for us in Sky 5 over Santa Monica, where we are just under a half hour now before the 4 p.m. curfew goes into effect. Hi, Derek.
Exactly. We've panned back across over to where the peaceful protest is on right now. You can see the protesters right up there next to the officers. This is on Ocean Boulevard, about a block north of where the Santa Monica Pier intersects Ocean Boulevard. It looks like many of them are kneeling or sitting down. They may be prepared to be taken into custody, arrested for a peaceful protest. We're not sure right now, but we're not seeing it thin out much more than when it did, or when it was when we first arrived on the scene. So it looks like these people are in for the long haul. The next 30 minutes, as you said, will tell whether these people will obey the order to the curfew order here and disperse. But for right now, they're continuing to protest here on Ocean Boulevard, just north of the Santa Monica Pier. LAPD helicopters overhead, and more black and whites from other agencies moving into the area. Just a short time ago, just 2 blocks away, we were seeing that we still had a number of people that were going in and out of broken into stores, pulling out merchandise, putting it in the vehicles and driving off. They have expanded, the police have kind of expanded their area of influence and have started to move into those areas. So we're starting to see fewer and fewer of that happening. That's the good news. When we first arrived here, we thought perhaps they had got complete control over it, but apparently that was not the case. Still, we have more protesters here. That is just south of the entrance. That intersection right there is where the Santa Monica Pier connects with Ocean Boulevard. We have other people there, yet a smaller crowd. Again, we're just going to have to see what plays out over the next 30 minutes. Now, back to you.
Yeah, Derek, question. I mean, where are they trying to move these people out to?
That is a good question. I would just presume that they would let them just filter out of the area after they've made the announcement to disperse. They don't seem to have a real avenue to kind of channel these people out. I would expect they would just kind of filter out in any which direction that that the individual feels that they should go. So that's about all we can tell you on that.
All right, Derek Bell up in Sky 5 again. What you're looking at here is the corner of Colorado and Ocean, just around the entrance of the Santa Monica Pier. They kind of had, at some point about an hour or so ago, had all the protesters the majority of gathered in that area, much thinner group than what it was. But the problem is, while the police are trying to disperse these people, you have other people blocks away, and they're looting stores.
I think someone said it earlier. It's like whack-a-mole, trying to put out all these small little fires, so to speak. We do have some news to bring you that Culver City has now just put their curfew into effect.
I don't say the real war haven't even started. People crying, complaining, and scared about people seizing and tearing up white business. Yeah, it's business. It's not just white business, though. They might be complaining more about that, but yeah, they tearing up everything. In numbers, they have numbers. You're gonna start seeing people get their life taken. This is recycled. Some of this footage is recycled, but still,
It's fluid. Everything keeps changing.
if you look at the stores, this is recycled. I've seen this footage.
Level video in Santa Monica. There we go.
This goes to show you they're basing everything off area footage. These reporters aren't willing to go in the heart, of the protest because they're afraid for their life. That just separates, where you're reporting. Like, that just goes to show you where they're at right now reporting.
braving the
They don't have foots on the ground, boots on the ground. Why? Because reporters are being attacked.
But then you see things like this.
You know what I'm saying?
In part of
So that's why they stick in the area footage. But in some cases, you got reporters on the ground, and you know these CNN reporters are being arrested because they're reporting the voices of the people, and they're being arrested because somehow, some way, they're receiving orders to arrest the reporters that's on site, especially from CNN.
From Santa Monica, where well, on the one side it's a live image. This is a little bit earlier, the ground level video you see, but
and understand, you have certain people that sending in video footage from their mobile phones to the news, local news.
So these people,
these are not actual
get cleared out.
reporters, field reporters that's on the ground recording this.
Colorado Ocean, right in the area around where the pier is. You know, where are these people going to disperse to? If they head south, they're going to go right into Venice, which is the city of Los Angeles. We don't know if there's any LAPD there preventing them from going there, but these people, they're going to have to go somewhere. But Santa Monica wants them out of there in about 25 minutes.
This is like a feed loop. It's just a loop. That's it. Not this, not the aerial footage, but when you see them coming out the store, that's just a loop.
You are only allowed to leave your house if you are going to and from work, or if it's an emergency, or you are an emergency.
And part of West Philadelphia is about to get rude awakening. Someone just ran over a police officer and burned his car up. This is not the worker protesters. Damn. Whoo, that's crazy.
Many of them are this group called
Damn.
Antifa, which we have seen them cause a lot of damage in downtown areas.
You're going to get officers that just don't want to go out there anymore because they're just not prepared for the lack of protection. And then if another officer goes out there and protect themselves and shoot a civilian, it's only going to make it worse. So understand that it's going to be certain military that you see driving into your local regions. This is Sunday, so this week you're going to see if it's the National Guard, the Army, whatever, driving in here, trying to maintain order, try to establish order.
If they are indeed arrested and charged by the feds.
Yeah, and there's just so many avenues to which they can be caught. You know, think of all of the news helicopters that are,
and all these people that's out here looting and everything with no mask on. It's just crazy, man.
And then the technology.
It's just crazy. And what they're talking about right now about the technology is absolutely true. Those aerial cameras can zoom in to a pimple on somebody's face, and that's what I'm talking about. To your right, it's the same loop. What I'm saying, this is a loop of them running out of the stores and everything.
Find out you were in that area at that time. So we do hope that this will all calm down, especially when. And
y'all need to understand, if it's law enforcement out here being injured, it's not necessarily saying if it's not on camera, it's somebody black. It's individuals out there trying to cause tension all around, as if you have black people out here retaliating. They're injuring peace officers. You know, they're injuring innocent individuals that's out there doing their job to make a living. And if you don't think the president is going to make the people, make the population, society pay, you sadly mistaken. Watch. He going to make people pay for this shit. Watch. It's going to be fucked up. He don't know what's going on. He don't know who's doing what, this, that, and the other. But he want to declare Antifa a terrorist organization. You're a little bit late on that.
Around 1 p.m. at the Huntington Beach Pier, the Huntington Beach Police declared that protest an unlawful assembly. And at one point we did have a helicopter shot over that, but I guess it's maybe died down a little bit because we're not over it now. And there was also some talk that there were going to be protests today in Whittier. There were 3 locations. There's Huntington Beach, Santa Monica, and Whittier that were supposed to be for these gatherings for protests and concern of potential looting. And then I believe the Whittier one didn't evolve into anything.
No, and I would imagine that what we're seeing here in Southern California, we're also continuing to see in other major cities across the country. You know, it all started in Minneapolis, and boy, there's been a lot of damage there. I saw this, you know, there was that really sad story about this firefighter that was ready to open a sports bar.
I'm going to check another feed, y'all. Be patient. I'm gonna check another feed.
Into this. It got completely torched, and now he's financially ruined, and he's just an innocent victim in all of this.
Right, you definitely have to feel for all of these shop owners, and even in saying that, I know I've gotten feedback for being sensitive to the shop owners when the thought is, well, they can rebuild, but this person, George Floyd's life, like, will never come back. But again, as what Mayor Garcetti had said, if you're really trying to make change here, going about it in violence is not the best way. And instead, you should fill out your census form to make sure that you are counted, to where the money goes, and also to register to vote, and then follow through with voting for the people who will help you fight your cause. And of course, we definitely, no one watched that video and didn't think it was absolutely horrifying. And that's part of this call for the 3 arresting officers. We know the main one was already taken into custody, but the other 3, the thought is that they should.
Well, the way we do it in the military, they're hard.
Go down, and nobody stepped up.
It's not going to be guns initially when the military come in.
Remove his knee, and so
believe that.
Perhaps if they do get charged, then that might calm the situation. We really don't know.
There's going to be weaponry that you can disperse a crowd with, like bang grenades and everything else that hurts. The shrapnel that comes from them and everything else. It's plenty other alternatives or options to use in a large crowd before you take out the big guns, because the big guns is going to cause mass casualties. I repeat, when they pull out the big guns on innocent civilians, it's going to cause mass casualties. And if y'all know already, a lot of people that are out here looting in other people's footprint are out of state. They don't even reside there. These people getting locked up, and these cats are out of state. Men and women, they out of state, y'all. You got people driving up to these places and looting and trying to leave. Some are getting arrested, and they're from other states.
If you charge them and then the charges don't stick, we can have a situation like we had with the Rodney King. I mean, the charges stuck. They went into trial.
Just think how many people we have in the population. Just believe how many civilians that they're dealing with that's converging on these particular nesting places, a protest supposedly, and they're inciting and basically going out here damaging business, doing what the hell they doing, and they don't even live there. They're just being opportunists to the moment. The reporter earlier tried to blame the situation on celebrities, saying that they'll pay for the protesters' bail. And the only person that put that out there was Colin Kaepernick. He has absolutely nothing. And that's discrimination in itself. That's prejudice for this reporter to even bring Kaepernick into this, because before all this happened, he was protesting the same situation that took place. He was protesting for justice, equal rights, that our voices be heard. But he was blackballed out of football. Now you have an individual that's not a professional player gets killed by individuals who was torturing this cat, enjoying it, and absolutely suffocating him and murdered him right there in front of the camera. He wasn't a professional athlete. He was a civilian, even though Steven Jackson knew him for a long time. Hey, you can't sit up here and blame Kaepernick on this shit. That's prejudice. When you start talking about every black person that you believe has did something incorrectly, that didn't fit your narrative or fit what your belief is, then you start bringing them into the equation in such a tense situation like this. Is fucked up. But I'm gonna check another live feed. Hold on, y'all, because they're just looping this live feed. I'm gonna check another live feed right quick. There's more interest in these.
And people all of a sudden start like a mob running in one direction, running away. We saw people in alleyways staging their cars almost like to get away.
It's the anger, that a lot of people are expressing when we're talking about close. We can blame COVID-19 for a lot of that we can't get from close to people's stories. Why are you here? How'd you come? Where'd you come from? That sort of thing. The
that MTA, our transit's probably in close contact with them, and it's been very.
This is a different news feed.
Law enforcement to make sure that we.
Cause that other one just sucked. I ain't gonna lie.
Terminate where we need to in terms of the bus system, and I know last night we did, and then it started again this morning.
And finally, Supervisor, I'll wrap this up. Is there any sense of frustration?
He's wrapping it up. So.
And others that efforts have been made with the LAPD, the LASO. Certainly, you have your critics. No police department's perfect because people aren't perfect, but efforts have been made. At the LAPD, for example, is racially diverse. It represents racially the city that it serves. This can be in this position because of the actions of 4 officers in a municipality thousands of miles away.
I'm frustrated in that I feel that what occurred in Minneapolis was horrific. I know we've come a long way here, but what you're seeing from the people, at least, and I know some people that were at Pan Civic Park yesterday, they were protesting in support of the people in Minnesota, and we recognize, and they recognize that we've come a long way, but I recognize we've got a long way to go. We are working together. I mean, our commission that's been put in play, the oversight first, is diverse and relates to each appointee on that commission. So we've come a long way, as has the LAPD. I mean, Chief Moore has been unbelievably transparent and responsive to the citizens of LA City, and this board has as well. The Board of Supervisors stood tall in recognizing that we have to have full transparency and accountability, because as you said, we're all human. There's nobody that's perfect, and if someone does something that's inappropriate, whether it be in law enforcement, in politics, in any segment, you've got to be held accountable.
LA County Supervisor, the Chair of the County Board of Supervisors, Catherine Barger, thank you very much and good luck and stay safe.
Thank you, you too.
All right, Conan, thank you so much. Catherine Barger, who we've been hearing from almost every day talking about COVID-19, and Jonathan mentioning once again, we'll see what happens in 14 days, because we're seeing these large groups come together and, not practicing social distancing, not everyone wearing a mask out there.
We want to get up to Eliana Moreno and News Chopper 4 Alpha following what's happening in the city of Santa Monica. We are 10 minutes now from a curfew taking effect, which will give law enforcement an entirely new strategy on how they approach people who are out in the street, especially the people who are looting. We've seen today, Eliana, is that these have been peaceful demonstrations that, as we've heard, within the last 20 minutes, those demonstrations have now been declared an unlawful assembly. What are you seeing, Eliana?
An unlawful assembly.
We see a lot of movement, Jonathan. We've seen additional officers arrive. These are deputies, rather, that just arrived from over the Tech Freeway. They were walking over the Main Street overpass of the Tech Freeway. Now they're at Santa Monica Station. They're here to brief with the Santa Monica police officers so they know exactly where their assets will best be needed as the curfew goes into place and the crowd starts to scatter. I'm going to put this shot over now, though, to the peaceful crowd here on Ocean Avenue near Colorado. This is one of two groups.
Those individuals you see are strictly for riots. So they're supposed to be bigger individuals, you know, tougher, so to speak, to handle riots and everything and be prepared for the resistance. But once again, you know, when you're dealing with high numbers of civilians, it gets tough when you don't have the visual. But what I'm seeing in other news outlets, they have snipers, they have lookouts in different places, man, with weapons, trying to pick off and trying to look through optics to determine certain individuals who are inciting or damaging property or trying to injure, you know, law enforcement. Anybody that's out there working for the city that's trying to, you know, maintain or reestablish order. You know what I'm saying? Outside the chaos that's going on. That's all. You know, they're not paying attention. They have people taking pictures on the ground from a distance that can zoom in on your face like you wouldn't believe. They have people, look, if you think they don't have feds inside some of these buildings taking pictures of people that's looting and all that, and it's gonna give them a little bit of time just to process and find out who you are, and then they're gonna come knocking on your door.
Even though they're, for the most part, not really blocking the roadway anymore. They're all, I don't know the exact name of this park, but it's just off of Ocean Avenue here near Palisades Beach Road in the Santa Monica area. I'm still counting dozens of people, easily 50 people, maybe more. And look at all of the officers who are still on scene here, still blocking Ocean Avenue. They were the reason why the protesters moved off to the side of the road. They started making announcements, letting them know that if they did not clear, that they did run the risk of getting arrested. Most of them listened and cleared the roadway. But unfortunately, there's still a large crowd just to the south here. I'm going to push in on them here in just a moment. That is still on scene and refusing to move.
Yeah, it's interesting as we watch the two different crowds. We want to remind our viewers that this has been really a peaceful protest that we've been following throughout the streets of Santa Monica today. And in the last hour or so, we did see on Ocean Avenue the peaceful protest continue, but really separating to these two groups. And on one side, as you just showed us, they're at Palisades Park off the street, no longer doing that, like basically listening to officers to get out of the roadway as the curfew set to take effect here. But these people here, this smaller group, much smaller group, willing to, you know, continue their civil disobedience and risk getting arrested in the next 7 minutes or so, as they've already been declared an unlawful assembly. And Eliana, and the other issue too, of course, just blocks away, the looting does continue, I'm sure.
Oh, the looting does continue, Jonathan. I'll see if I can move the shot over to one of those areas. It's the two groups are really separated. I wouldn't call the looters necessarily a group. That is not what they are. They do look to be operating all on their own for the most part. Most of them are on 4th Street and between Santa Monica and Broadway. So I'm going to get the shot over there here in a second, if possible.
All right, we're going to wait for you.
There.
Yeah, we'll wait for you to go ahead and check in over there. We're going to switch over to our own NBC forward, Rick Montanez. He has been following the situation with the National Guard. We heard from the mayor. He had talked to the governor last night, and the Guard was mobilized, moved in overnight up to 1,000 members, and we're seeing more people running there right now in Ileana's shop. But let's go over to Rick. Rick, what can you tell us about the National Guard here now?
Well, Kathy, what the mayor was saying earlier today is that there are two different activations in terms of the National Guard responding here to Southern California. At least that is the initial response. 500 for the county that were called in by the sheriff's department,
and then 500 that were requested, 500 troops requested to come in to help the city of Los Angeles. We'll show you some video of where they are stationed. The convention center is essentially home base right now for those 500 National Guard troops called in by Mayor Garcetti when he talked with Governor Gavin Newsom last night. He says this afternoon the mayor talked about the deployment of those troops, those National Guard members. He says they will be out in the community, not policing, not patrolling, Garcetti says, but actually providing security, in a sense, to a lot of the businesses that are in these areas in the city of Los Angeles that are getting hit by this looting. He says that is in an effort to get the officers back out onto the street. Take a listen to what the mayor says and what Chief Michael Moore had to say.
We mobilized our entire organization in a manner that has not happened in more than 30 years.
These actions are intended to protect our neighbors, our local businesses.
So here we are. We talked about this yesterday as well in terms of the LAPD having to bring in all of their resources, sending out detectives in uniform to be on the streets and redeploying officers to certain hotspot areas where they need to focus on. So the National Guard is also here. But of course, as the situation unfolds, we'll see how the deployment may change for those Guards members. And we've been seeing those aerial shots from News Chopper 4 Alpha this afternoon, where we see the Guards, men and women, out in different areas. So that's something we'll certainly keep an eye on. But for now, what the mayor was saying today is that the Guard is here to help to bring the peace, to help get officers back onto the streets. Reporting live on Las Vegas, Kathy and Jonathan, we'll go back to you.
All right, Rick, thank you for that. As we continue to watch images in 4th Street in Santa Monica, I believe that this is the REI. You're seeing here from News Chopper 4 Alpha that we have been continuing to monitor. This is just one of many stores along 4th Street in Santa Monica that have been looted. It is the looting that is completely separate from the protest happening blocks away that has really dominated, unfortunately, our coverage.
They said this is the separate. You know, you have the protests at a different location and these individuals just going around looting. So that should tell you right there. They don't give a damn about what happened. They just there for the opportunity. And they may not even reside in Santa Monica, but they know it's a, you know, that particular strip that they own have some stores that are high-end stores. So they're there in numbers, man. You don't think people in them windows, man, taking pictures, man. Good luck with that.
Taking place after the death of George Floyd, the curfew again just about to take effect here in the city of Santa Monica, 4 p.m. And we have learned that LA County Supervisor Captain Barger telling us a few minutes ago there will be a curfew in effect for all of LA County. The LA County Sheriff confirming that curfew will start at 6 o'clock. And contrasting today's protest, which has been peaceful really the entire time, we are continuing to see the looting here on your screen being done by people in completely separate groups in Santa Monica, people who are not part of the protest, people here who are stealing items and really stealing the message of the demonstrations. Cars and SUVs we've been seeing pulling up, people running inside of stores, grabbing things, going right back into their cars as we continue to follow what's the developments here, again, taking away from the message from the protest. We want to get to our own Conan Nolan, who's with us now. Conan, what can you tell us?
I wanted to bring into the conversation.
We're at the REI store, Jim. Okay, we're hearing Eliana. Here's Conan. Conan?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yes, I want to bring into the conversation. I think we have on the line.
Well, the fireman there.
Sawyer, he's the chair of the Assembly Public Safety Committee, Democrat of South Los Angeles. Somebody knows something about civil rights. He also knows,
I mean, what are firemen doing there? They're just going to bring the trucks to block something off? I mean, come on now. You don't want them damaging fire trucks, do you? I know you're not going to start pulling out the hoses and spraying it on the civilians. That's just not going to be nice all the way around. You're not going to get nothing accomplished unless they're showing up because somebody got hurt. There's injuries, casualties, whatever.
It's disheartening to see the looting, the destruction of property, but it's also encouraging that people are standing up. And
he says also encouraging people standing up. Dang.
We've all been working on for quite a while.
I wonder is he going to get reprimanded for saying that? He says also encouraging people are standing up.
And Mayor Bradley during that time and how tense it was. The same intensity, but it seems like people want a solution this time. People want to see something happen. And I've been saying for a long time, all it takes is just one person to make a difference, whether it's Mahatma Gandhi, Jesus Christ, or Martin Luther King. If one of those officers had just pulled that person off, his fellow officer off, if one person had just said, don't loot, don't throw a stone, don't hurt a law enforcement officer, we would be in a much better place right now.
We are in continuing coverage here on KNBC TV in Los Angeles of the civil unrest and protesting that is peaceful protesting taking place in Los Angeles County, specifically with Assemblyman Reggie Jones Sawyer, Democrat of South Los Angeles and chair of the Assembly Public Safety Committee. You have been down this road before, Assemblyman, and there has been conversations before and dialogue. There have been changes at LAPD and the Sheriff's Office, but you must feel some sense of frustration that this sort of repeats itself, and that yes, we've had them before, but it doesn't seem like it's getting any easier.
So with a lot of laws, I used to work for the city of Los Angeles, so I know what it's like to be a bureaucrat, and I tell people I'm one, and now I'm an elected official, and I make laws now. But the rubber meets the road is at the implementation stage, and we need to actually come together, both with the community, with elected officials, with unions and others to come and find a way to finally resolve this, and that's at the implementation side. I think I've told you before, we've done quite a few laws that have benefited and that moved the needle. We've had several police chiefs. We even changed some of the makeup of the community as far as law enforcement. We've done quite a bit, but to get us over the hump to we have true equality, we're going to have to all come together and to just resolve it once and forever.
Right, but to somebody who watches this and says, listen, all you can do is help with the community that you're in. And this is a national problem. So whatever you do in Los Angeles, and I mentioned this earlier with Congresswoman Karen Bass, who you know, who represents part of your district, that yes, you can do what you can with the municipalities and the police departments within the community where you can be active and where you as a legislator can help pass legislation. But this is a national issue, so you are at the whims to a certain degree in terms of public conduct for departments across the country that you have no control over. So I'm just wondering, is this a federal problem, and can this be done at a federal level?
So it is a national problem. The solution doesn't have to come from the top down. It can't come from the bottom up. And California, Los Angeles, has been the bellwether of change for as long as I've known. And so if we want to make change, sometimes it's got to start here at the local level.
I mean, they formed the T formation, but there's no crowd there now.
And we're going to make change, and then we pull in the right people.
They relocated.
Because the real thing is systemic racism. And until we can really grapple with that in a substantive way and not do band-aids to it, we'll be looking at this over and over again. That also includes looking at the training, the policies, the procedures that we have for the criminal justice system. They were in place, put in place a long time ago, and the society has moved, advanced in a way where we've got to take their outmoded. Like I tell people all the time, if you look at some of the early training or the early policies that were developed in law enforcement, they were based on the slave trade and slave bounty hunters going after runaway slaves. And so we've got to get that out of some of these practices so that we can move forward and understand where we were, and then understand where we need to go. And then we've got to have a one-on-one serious talk with both the community and law enforcement on how we can make these changes sustainable and effective. That's the part. Implementation is not easy. Legislation is easy. Implementation is very difficult, and we just need to do that hard work.
Hard work ahead. The Honorable Reggie Jones Sawyer, member of the California State Assembly and the chair of the Public Safety Committee.
Thank you, Conan.
Conan, thank you for that. It is now 4:05. It is 5 past the hour now. You're watching NBC4's continuing coverage of the protest taking place.
Oh, he got some good.
Morning, and we have also learned that there is a curfew in effect in the entire LA County, Los Angeles County, starting at 6 p.m. that will go until 6 a.m. tomorrow. LA County Sheriff confirming that. Contrasting today's protests, which have been peaceful again mostly, we are continuing to see looting as well, just blocks away from here in the city of Santa Monica, which led to that early that early curfew. You're seeing it on your screen there. That the looting, really people stealing items from different stores along 4th Street and stealing the protest message. We've seen cars and SUVs pulling up, people running inside stores, getting right back in their cars and taking off. Kathy, it's just been kind of unruly, just a few blocks away from where we've seen some really peaceful demonstrations.
Yes, the demonstration has been peaceful, but now it is unlawful because these people have been told that they need to leave the area. And it'll be interesting to see what police do at this point, because we have some of the people who are peacefully demonstrating now sitting in the streets. If we go up to Eliana Moreno, we can ask her, she's been over the scene here. Are we seeing any fewer people? Because it doesn't seem like it.
Kathy, the curfew is well in effect now, but you wouldn't know it based off of all of the people that are still out here on Ocean Avenue. The group that I'm showing you now is the one that had actually cleared completely off the roadway and had made their way into the park, but now at least half of them have made their way back onto the road. Perhaps they have decided that it is worth it to get arrested, because that is exactly what is going to happen in the next few minutes if they do not clear out of the area. And let me move this shot now over to the other group that is just to the south. Again, this is going to be Ocean Avenue near Colorado. This is where we have another.
I wonder how many of y'all mad at Colin Kaepernick now. Just look at how complex this is, right? How he was able to do a non-violent protest by taking a knee, right? Which pissed people off to no end. All because he was taking a knee during the national anthem. Where's the national anthem here? And all this looting is look, these same individuals thinking about the flag, thinking about the nation. This is just a travesty, man, because they're going to start bringing Colin Kaepernick's name in here when this man was silently protesting in a nonviolent nature. Nobody was rioting. No one was looting because of it. It was just him all by himself, man, as a soldier. And people was complaining. What the hell are you going to think happened now? What you got to complain about now? You had everybody in the streets looting, fucking shit up. Is this a protest? Hell no, this ain't no protest. Some people are out there protesting, but they're being diluted with individuals just out here for the opportunity. This isn't easy. You know, those people sitting in the streets right here, you got to think about if they have water, if they have food, you know, what businesses around that area is closed and not serving people because they're in fear of being looted. You know what I'm saying? And their business establishments being burned to the ground. But Colin Kaepernick was protesting in a nonviolent nature. Now you have a law enforcement officer that kills a black man in the same fashion for which Kaepernick was just protesting for equality. You know what I'm saying? Now you have people of different race in which they were singling out a specific race of Colin Kaepernick for black people. Now you have all races that's out here in the streets protesting, some good and some bad. Where's the outcry of the national anthem, the red, white, and blue. It takes it takes a bigger situation for you to understand a smaller situation that was being done the right way. Kaepernick was doing it the right way. He was he was peacefully protesting. And now you have multiple people up here that's not protesting anything. It's a rude awakening, huh? It's just no game, no game, no game. How can he protest for peace, equality? And then a black man get killed, and it's on camera. Colin Kaepernick was protesting on camera too, just taking a knee. That's it. But a man get put on his face and a knee on his neck, get suffocated to death. We have entire societal resistance taken to the streets and just tearing up people's businesses, and they really don't know why they're doing it. You know, like a lot of these people don't know where they haven't experienced racism. They just joining in the group, man, moving with the pack. They just moving with the pack, man. One thing you can't do is just blame all this on black people. I'll tell you that much, because we didn't start shit in this. He didn't choke himself out.
Trying to block any kind of entrances or on ramps or off ramps?
Yeah, let me widen out and check real quick because we weren't.
They ain't taken to the highway, are they? Now, what they're doing right now, looks like they're reorganizing whoever these individuals are. I don't know if they're the same individual who's looting early. You can't tell. But they always walk to the highway. They always walk to the street in protest. You know what I'm saying? They always march.
If you could go back to where the CHP were, it looked like we saw several officers starting to line up. The CHP officers who appeared to be CHP, almost looking right as the protesters are now entering this intersection. Yeah, there's the highway patrol. I'm assuming they're trying to prevent those protesters from entering the freeway.
Yeah, those protesters are going to be right there where those CHP officers are. And not too long, they're moving fairly quickly as a group, but no, they're going straight.
Yeah, it does not appear that they're going to try to enter the
all right, we continue to watch this, Jonathan. Let's go to Guan Vegas. He has been on the ground in various situations. I know he was there yesterday when we were watching the Fairfax area. And Guan, where are you right now? This is our Telemundo reporter.
Right near the Santa Monica cross street. There's having a lot of audio issues. I heard you ask where we were at. We're on the corner of 4th and Santa Monica. Facility going on right behind us. People have been entering and exiting this jewelry store, trying to find whatever has been left. Now, this entire block has businesses that have been looted. I'm going to move over this way, and you might be able to see all the trash on the sidewalk on the street. That's not actually trash. Those are boxes. Those are wrappers from products that have been stolen. You can see some shoes. There's a Patagonia store across the street. I'm going to walk over, and you can see people just running in, running out. This is what we've seen in this area of Santa Monica is complete chaos. Police officers will arrive, will try to stop the looting, but it's impossible because something else is going on half a block away. So you see the officers rushing that direction, then crowds moving this direction. It's complete chaos. You can see from my view, I can see a helicopter. I can see dozens of officers on that side doing something. The firemen with fire trucks putting out a fire that started at another store. We Meanwhile, this store right here is getting looted. And this is what's been going on for the last hour, hour and a half. Now, we actually witnessed a lot of this looting when it started. We didn't get to see this yesterday, but sorry about all the movement. We have to maneuver between traffic and everything going on.
I mean, I wonder where y'all were when it was actually looting, though. You wait till the crowd dispersed to come on deck.
And all of a sudden, 7, 8, 9 cars pull up. Now, this is like out of a movie. They pull up. They're breaking windows, by the way. You can see that. And then there's spikes coming by. This is the chaos that's going on.
Yeah, Claude, you have a lot of cars there and you're in the street. Do be careful.
There's a lot going on, but I want to make sure I describe how the looting started when we were here. You see these cars pull up, full of people. Each car will then, some of them will step out, run in the store, start looting, while others stay and watch. They watch one side, the other side, and they keep time. About 2 minutes into it, they start honking the horns. At 3 minutes, they start yelling 3 minutes, 3 minutes, and then people run out with the products. They have bags, huge backpacks, get in the cars, and take off. I'm going to ask you stuff over here, sir, please. So this is really what has been going on in Santa Monica as officers try to control what they can. Firemen put out the fires, and I mean the images describe themselves. As you can see, there's complete chaos.
Jonathan here, and I just want to ask you, as we're continuing to stay with your shot here, we want to remind you to please be safe while you're out there. We have you on our left side of the screen. On the right side, we have a peaceful protest that continues through the streets of Santa Monica. Can you talk about how different what is happening where you are is from the actual protests that are happening as we speak?
Completely different. These are two groups of people. I think as these protests in LA have started 3 days ago, we've been trying to figure out what's going on. The first night it was in downtown. Yesterday it was down in the Fairplex area, and now it's here in Santa Monica. I think in Santa Monica it's been much more clear because the actual peaceful protest continues. The crowds are over on the other side of Santa Monica. Meanwhile, this is going on. So it's hard to tell how these things are organized. I did speak to some activists that were here earlier, asking them who actually organizes all of this, and they mentioned there's several different groups that will send out messages on social media, and it's difficult to see which ones are real, which ones are not. So what you have is a lot of organizers asking different groups to congregate in an area like this, and one of those groups.
See, this solid reporting. He's actually on site. But a lot of these reporters, they're scared to get down and go to the actual location to where all this is going down. And this is what the viewers want to have an opportunity to see. Not just, you think adults tuning in, but so their kids can understand what's going on, so they can make sure they're not out there doing the same thing. It's no good, I see a couple of video slots where, a brother was trying to educate this 16-year-old and his father who was out there protesting and saying, I went through this when I was your age. Your father went through this and this, that, and the other. Yeah, I get it. We did. We absolutely did. But it's a difference. This is a different type of situation that's going on here, because you have individuals from different ethnicities that's out here in the streets causing discontent and criminality. So when you have that, it's way outside of protesting the death of a black man who was killed by an officer. It totally, discount what we out there, what the focus is, what's the direction the protesters trying to go. Grabbing spray cans and just turning this into a I Am Legend movie sequel. It's just stupid as hell, man. This shit don't make no fucking sense. What's going to happen when they need to eat and they got to go way to the next town because most of the establishments and restaurants are closed down because either one, they was burned, or they're afraid to open up because they don't want people coming in there robbing the place. Like, where are you going to eat? People from different towns are coming in your town and tearing your shit up, and then they're driving home. Don't be mad when people start getting hurt now.
Stand here and stop the looting. I can see 5, 6, 7 stores from here where others are running into. It's complete chaos.
And Juan, can you remind us, as we're getting the safety alerts on our phones right now, they're reminding people about a citywide curfew from 8 p.m. tonight through 5:30 a.m. tomorrow.
We don't win the curfew down here yet. Everybody's tuned in. Appreciate it, man. This is kind of off topic from me talking about boxing and MMA. World Combat Sports is still on that genre, but it's absolutely, as a black man in society, I have to definitely, touch bases on this and allow the audience to see what's going on. People can't sit up here and blame one particular race for the specific source of the problem when there are people from multiple areas of ethnicities going out here and just causing mayhem and chaos without a purpose. They don't have a purpose for being in the street. When I say they don't have a purpose, their purpose is not for George Floyd. Their purpose is, they're there for opportunity. They don't have a strict purpose. They're just there for the opportunity to go in there and rob and steal and have fun and roll with a pack of people that's absolutely followers and sheeps. And they're just following each other around town, destroying the place, man. This is a learning experience. Y'all was taking this shit for granted. If anybody that was around that situation when George Floyd was being suffocated, they just would have sacrificed themselves to just a little bit more to alter the situation, to cover George Floyd. It might have prevented some of this from happening. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, it's hard to sacrifice yourself for a person you never met and don't know. And obviously, they really didn't know what he did, but the process changed when the man was dying. He was being killed in front of their eyes, and they just want to talk about, dialogue is out the window at that point. When you see a man have his knee on somebody's neck for 3 minutes, and he's begging for his mother, who is already dead, has already passed away. His nose is bleeding. The man is goddamn pissing on himself. It's time to act. Dialogue is done. Why are you going to be mad at the woman who recorded it? Because she didn't step up. She didn't have enough courage to go sacrifice her life. Yeah, it's different out there, man. It's different in the street.
Don't break in, and they were pushed to the ground, and it's exactly what city leaders don't want to see. We're expecting to hear from them in just a little while. The city of Santa Monica expected to have a news conference, and we'll listen in to see what they have to say. As we know, we're now 25 minutes into this curfew they put into place at 4 o'clock. What they really want now is for everyone to get off the street. Jonathan, this demonstration that started earlier today, we're seeing people walking in the streets, but I have not seen any sort of activity that you could describe as negative in any sort of way. It's been a really peaceful group. If they wanted to get a message out there, they did it well. The demonstration seems to have gone off very well. And now all we need is for them to clear the streets and go home and pay attention to what the city leaders want them to do. And that is just to clear the streets now.
And you mentioned how city leaders, Kathy, wanted and been asking the looters to go home and stop doing what they're doing. It's also the same people who are peacefully protesting. They're asking the very same thing of the people who are ransacking stores to stop what they're doing immediately, because it is simply taking away from the message and from the demonstrations of the death of George Floyd.
Absolutely, it is. It is distracting from the death of George Floyd. True words. We need more voices and echoes out here on the mic that's on ground zero, like this guy. Still those cats putting the goddamn footage in loop, showing the same thing over again because they don't have people that's confident enough to go down there where the protesters are at and get the true scoop and let the public see what's going on. So it can be a teaching moment also. That's your job. That's what you signed up for. Now it's time to leave the office and go into the streets, go into the field, and get us the real story.
Continue walking north on Ocean Avenue the way that they are. They will join up with one of the two groups that was obstructing the intersection, and I'll show you that group now. That is that group right there. That's the group that for the most part has scattered, but you still see people in the road, and there's still a lot of officers on scene. Here's where we saw that smoke bomb go off earlier. Again, right here on Ocean Avenue, you can see that line of officers still holding their ground, holding their skirmish line. And at this point, that first group, again, has scattered for the most part. And a lot of them have made their way here to this nearby park. But even though they are off the roadway, again, that curfew is well in effect. So despite how peaceful they are being at this point, they have to clear or they could get arrested.
Absolutely, and that smoke bomb did clear a lot of those protesters very quickly. We'll stay with your picture. We're going to bring in California 1 in Huntington Beach, and NBC4's Christine Kim was there today, and she has
See what's going on in Huntington Beach. What's going on in Huntington Beach? Take us over there.
Kathy, we've just arrived at the Orange County Bureau where it is safe for us to be here, but I will tell you that much of the protest is pretty much over, but there are still some stragglers hanging out.
Shout out to Dion Nichols, man, the equalizer. He was out here protesting in Alabama. He was actually out in the streets. One of the first fighters I see to go live while they're out here in the protest, man. So shout out to Dion Equalizer Nichols, man, for getting out here in the streets and protesting and making a difference, you know, outside the ring too, for standing up for something. You know what I'm saying? Showing that you have the courage to get out here and protest, you know, for the right cause of the death of George Floyd, man. Salute to you. Much respect.
Decided to declare an unlawful assembly. They asked the protesters there to leave. We saw police officers in riot gear form a line to move the crowds away from where they were gathering. That was at PCH and Main in that area there.
What am I looking at right here? What am I looking at?
Much of the protesters have left. There are still a few protesters there. I did speak with
You remember when Black Lives Matter was so bad that people were saying, you know, you're discriminating because you're saying Black Lives Matter. And what are we looking at right here? We're seeing individuals that's holding up signs and doing it, you know, the protest correctly and saying Black Lives Matter. But when blacks were talking about Black Lives Matter, they were trying to say it was a hate group. It was a pro black group. It was dealing with organized crime. You know, they was trying to freaking promote racism, promote retaliation. But now the man is on freaking TV, suffocated. Now you have other people holding up Black Lives Matters and nobody ain't saying nothing. Look, they can't hold it true to a black group of people anymore. The only thing is, okay, they're writing Black Lives Matters on the sign. But when blacks was holding up signs, Black Lives Matter, they thought it was like a pro-black type of protest. But yet we was doing the same thing that they're doing now. You just have other people that's holding up the signs due to George Floyd being killed and many others before him. This is for everyone that was killed for the wrong reason. You know, that was black and killed for the wrong reason due to racism.
It does tend to cause some of the protesters to dissipate from the area.
What's going on? How you run boxing in the building, man? I ain't see you drop in over there. I can't really see all my comments at the bottom, man. Salute to you, Benjamin Rubio. He said, Benjamin Rubio said, I don't understand how Floyd was a security guard when he was in prison for armed robbery. Well, first of all, security organizations can be contractors, and they can have anybody on their staff, and the person that's in charge of that contracting security force can be hired, and the employees are screened only by the individual who are in charge of the contracting group. That's how. So my question to you, Benjamin, What does that have to pertain to the protesters going on? You know what I'm saying? Just, how was he a security guard in the same club that Derek Chauvin worked outside security for as a off-duty policeman? Hey, I thought you was gonna ask that question too. Now, right? Law enforcement officer got 3 bodies to his name, and he was working outside security while George Floyd worked inside security. So somebody gave that man a chance with a prison term and papers. Being he had papers, they gave him a second opportunity to earn a living. So therefore, he was working as a security officer. But don't hesitate. Just help me understand what that has to do with the protest, though.
Bringing in a trash can there on the left-hand side.
It's not letting you comment. Oh, okay. I was just about to say, I see your comments.
Hands up with these 2 people who have already stepped in front.
Eliana, can we get a perspective now on what the officers are doing in response to this crowd getting closer to them?
Let me widen out the shot, Jonathan. I'm going to move it just to the north, and here's where the officers are.
Yeah, this
I will
is the
zoom
same
in
foot
here.
as of right now. And this is what we've seen in terms of this protest all day. The officers not being combative in any way with these protesters. The protesters remaining peaceful with them for the most part. And as you mentioned, we thank you for clarifying.
I mean, be specific. Who you talking about, Benjamin? Don't talk in code. Asshole doesn't have a description unless you make it one. I just need to know what label. Who are you directing that at? Put your hand down and start shooting, and what? You just here to incite what's already going on, my brother? Whoever you are. Okay, I see what's good. Hey, thanks for letting me know that. I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna escort you out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're seeing them, as we pointed out, with those street barriers and with boards that they've set up, anything they could grab along the way, a trash can, a couple of cones there, and they set up that barrier where their standoff is, and then a few people, more than
That's why your comments ain't showing up anyway.
kneeling or not going to abide by the curfew that the city has implemented, which went into effect at 4 o'clock. They're going to stay here and continue the demonstration. So in other cases, we have seen police.
When people come over here saying dumb shit, tomorrow put your hands down and all this other stuff and start doing this, that, and the other. They're not here for the protest. They're just here to incite and instigate and provocate. That's all they're doing. They sit behind the screens, goddamn sweating profusely. Their hands freaking on the home keys with ho cream dip, motherfucking goddamn cheese dripping out their mouth, ketchup and mustard all over their clothes, trying to be important. High cholesterol levels, upset with themselves. Let me see, can I do? Let me jump on World Combat Sports and talk some shit about the guy who got killed, but I don't have the courage to jump on here on live and talk sensibly about the situation because you don't even care. You don't even fucking care.
Vocalizing how they feel, they're practicing their First Amendment right, despite being deemed unlawful by the city of Santa Monica.
Yeah, there's certainly nothing in any way violent. We're seeing some more officers here,
and if it would be only vocalized, them to vocalize their frustration, for them to express verbal protests with signs and everything else, it would be cool. But now, hundreds of businesses are destroyed. So I'm telling you, we all gonna be punished for it by the White House, for him not really understanding what's the purpose of all this going on and pretty much speaking up about it. The stimulus check that went out, I'll be hard pressed to think we're gonna get another stimulus check anytime soon due to all these businesses that's not only fucked up from the pandemic, But it's even worse now that some of the business that was untouched, they've been looted and they have losses that they probably can't recoup. You know what I'm saying? They can't recoup all these losses. I mean, I'm not saying I care. I don't have anything to do with, but I'm more concerned about the protests, to be honest. Yeah, Chris, I kicked them out. You know, you're always gonna have individuals that are sheep in the first place. They try to come in here like a motherfucking wolf, but they're a little sheep, man. They followers. They just want to come over here and incite anger and see can they get a reaction when they sitting in their own home eating a hot pocket, their 15th hot pocket of the day. You know what I'm saying? Sitting there eating ho ho and ding dongs, breathing hard while they on the keyboard, sipping on chocolate milk with Hershey syrup. Goddamn sweating for no fucking reason. I tell you what, who's this Rubio dude? Get a life. Yeah. Because, man, they didn't want Kaepernick kneeling. They didn't like it interrupting their sport. But here we are. Hey, Chris, you're absolutely correct, man. They did not want him to protest. And look, shit, a lot of love is going to come his way now for doing it the correct way. And look, who would have thought a society? Let me cut these people down a little bit. Who would have thought a society would have to have a situation exacerbate? I mean, I wouldn't even say exacerbate, implode the way this situation has, all because of a black man being murdered, right? And that's what Colin Kaepernick was protesting all along. He was peacefully protesting on a knee. He was peacefully protesting during the national anthem. But yet he was blackballed from playing the sport for which he was making a living, right? Now the camera's rolling. George Floyd, who didn't have a perfect background, you know what I'm saying? He didn't have a perfect background, but his life for a supposedly nonviolent offense of forgery, which we don't even know if that was him. You know, he was extracted from his vehicle and then taken to the back of another vehicle. Some things went down right there, and he was snatched out the other side of the vehicle. And the remaining visual is what we seen play out on video. You know, him being asphyxiated and suffocated to death and losing his life. But this is what Colin Kaepernick was protesting about: equality. You know what I'm saying? Justice. Stop going out here just killing black men for no apparent reason over non-violent offenses. And now, of course, any protest doesn't basically it's not a consensus across the board, as if blacks don't, you know, sit up here and commit criminal acts. That's not the point. The point is what we've seen over and over again in certain cases, like the Travis Scott, the Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, George Floyd. Rodney King. We have so many that has went out, like, and the protest has not erupted to the level it is now. This is just unbelievable. This is crazy, because it was even at a point in time where you had white people from different groups criticizing Colin Kaepernick for what he was doing. But now you have those same individuals out here helping looting and protesting. There's good, you know, you got the good protests, right? And then you have the same different races going around here looting stores. They don't know what the fuck they want to do. It ain't just black people having the opportunity to protest by themselves for equality. Now we have everybody blending in. And then also we have moles. We have individuals that's going around here writing Black Lives Matter, painted on the building when they're not black, and they're just freaking inciting riots. We have pallets that was dropped off in front of the CNN center down here of bricks because CNN is reporting the quality news of this particular situation. But we had individuals dropping off pallets of freaking bricks, y'all. These ain't small bricks. These are bricks that you throw it through a window, the whole window coming out. And there's no construction going around, nothing. They dropped these pallets of bricks out in front of the CNN building because they want CNN to pay the price. And it's different down here in ATL, man. It's different. It's a lot of people got work down here in the ATL. I don't think you're gonna come down here in the ATL, man, and do the shit you're doing in Santa Monica and all over the place. Don't think it's gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen, bro. This is a carry state, and people gonna start getting killed. Seriously, it's not gonna happen. Come down here from another state and try to start looting and then breaking into shit. It ain't gonna go your way, bro. I appreciate that, Ohio Run Boxing, man. Appreciate the support always, my brother. Small business owner. This is going to affect the top line also. This is going to affect the top line in the worst way. Because some of the people in the top line, they're not going to be able to recover from this. Especially their insurance is saying, no, we can't help you in this. They're going to say, did you call the police and make a report? They're going to say, well, it was on TV, man. You know, this protest has been going on, right? Yeah, it was those people. Well, unless you provide a police, okay. But I'm just curious, like, what are we doing right now? I'm saying as a people. Like what's going on? They're attacking random people out of cars. Like what are we doing? Running up in stores, stealing? Like this ain't a protest, man. This is like Armageddon. This is like the apocalypse. And I always hate to hear people saying, "Oh, in the Bible they say we on our last days." Shit, this look like it. We're in absolute mayhem right now. I hate to hear that. People always comparing this to the last days. And look, we never thought it'll come to this civil unrest, and it has. It's came to this civil unrest, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's what it seems like. God don't have nothing to do with this. You ask yourself, where are these people coming from? She said she want everybody to go home now. Good luck with that, man. It should have been this type of sacrifice when a man had a knee on his neck. If it would have been this type of sacrifice, then it would have been a whole nother change, I believe. It would have been the proper change if somebody just would have sacrificed and say, let me lay over this man to prevent him from being choked, man. Let me prevent him from being, suffocated. If somebody would have sacrificed themselves at the time the incident was occurring, then it would be a whole different story. I'm just saying. That's just me, man. What happened to this cat? Pepper spray or something like that? I'm surprised that photographer is out there in the middle of everything taking pictures and they're not bothering him. I'm surprised they ain't walked up and tried to snatch his camera. They was out there attacking reporters. I'm gonna switch and see if there's another one. If not, because I'm gonna shut it down. Give me a time. Just give me a moment. I'm gonna shut this and see if it's another stream that's out there. And the reason why the West Coast is being broadcast because they're 3 hours back, and over here it's some protests going on over here, man, on the East Coast, man. I don't know why it's not more shown right now. Real talk. I know where to go. So I'm just gonna give you. Hold on for a second. Let me update some shit right quick. Okay. I'm gonna give you some updates on the curfews. Who's on curfew right now? What it matters to you, whether you're concerned or not. It's still news to the current situation at hand. Arizona is on curfew. California. We're talking about Los Angeles, San Francisco, Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, West Hollywood, San Jose, Colorado, District of Columbia, Florida, Georgia, Atlanta is on curfew. Illinois, Indiana. So Kentucky, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri, New York, Ohio, Oregon, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, Washington, Wisconsin, Arizona, Texas, Virginia. So I guess South Carolina is not really understanding what's going on. They're not on curfew. Let me get up out of here. I'm gonna try to locate another live feed. If not, I will definitely shut it down. Anything that has to do with Y'all hold on for a second. I'm gonna take y'all back through the video that everybody is protesting and rioting over. I'm about to show it. Just give me a minute to bring it up. So this is the video of George Floyd last moments. See how he's leaning on him, and George Floyd is screaming. I'm gonna rewind this because y'all didn't get a chance to see it on the live feed. See how Chauvin is leaning his knee and moving his knee on his neck. He is leaning on that man's neck. He's leaning on that man, making that man suffer like that. What a piece of shit, man, up there, goddamn, making that man suffer like that by teaching him a lesson for whatever happened before. You a bad man, goddamn, sitting up there with a man that's handcuffed and leaning on him like that and talking shit. I'm gonna rewind that again. It's the last time I'm showing it today.
What do you want? I can breathe. Please, to me, but I can breathe shit. Look, get in the car, man. I will. Get in the car. I can't move. I've been waiting the whole time, man. Get in the car. Mama. Get in the car.
He called his mama.
Y'all opportunity to get in, brother. You can't win. My knee. You can't win, man. I'm through. I know you didn't listen. My stomach hurts. My neck hurts.
Man, I'm pissed on himself up on the car. And then when he talked, Chauvin is leaning on him even more. See how he moved his boot? He moved his leg. Y'all can't tell me y'all didn't see that. This man moved his boot forward to rotate it on the man's neck so he can suffer even more, man. Y'all can't tell me y'all didn't see that, man. It's an unfortunate situation for real. Well, we know when the person up here, starts screaming, talking about mama and all that, he know he done. But they sitting up there talking to this man as if he's on punishment right now. The man is restrained, but you're sitting up here talking about the man can't win and proving the point. And the picture that you see right there, that doesn't even look like him. Seriously, that doesn't even look like him. Real talk. It doesn't even look like him. These fake ass profiles come on here just trying to incite. Some of these protesters don't do nothing. Man, you're not even talking about anything. People coming up here on the fake ass ghost profiles and trying to incite a situation even worse than what it is, knowing they won't even take to the streets to do nothing. It's barely any energy for me to block you. Let me see one more. Let me see what they have over here. Let me show you, what happened in Minneapolis with this big rig driver. And if you don't know, those of you that don't really stay attached to the history, that's really the foundation to what we're seeing right now is when Reginald Denny, a truck driver who didn't do anything to anyone, but the protesters pulled him out and cracked him over the head with a rock and all that. This video I'm about to show you happened over there where a driver drove into the crowd of protesters. And of course, if you do that, it's going to be repercussions. You know what I'm saying? I can't imagine what this crowd did to him. If he was trying to prove a point, he was frustrated. We don't know what was going on, but he drove into a crowd.
TMZ's bringing the heat with the latest celeb stories. Demi Lovato posted a photo showing off her cellulite.
Let me wait till it come on because I don't have time for all these advertisements just yet. Man, it's like ants down there, man. I'm gonna wait till it shows on YouTube though. This truck drives into a crowd of protesters, man. And they swarm him like bees. They're all on top of the truck, man. They better be all the way glad that this wasn't somebody that's freaking with a shotgun or something and start shooting people. This is getting crazy. I'm about to put it on full screen. But look how you're gonna see it on the screen soon enough. How do you stop a big rig and you on your feet? It ain't no way that rig should have stopped. I'm just being serious. There ain't no way that man should have stopped. Should have blew the horn and pressing the gas, man. You stopped. It's a wrap. What? You can't even see him in the crowd. You can't even see where he at. Jesus, man. You have a big tanker. You have a huge ass tanker. And you stop with protesters? What? Is that the driver right there? What is going on, man? Ain't no way. I think that's it for me with these videos. I'm not going to leave you with a speech or anything, but I just want this to, definitely lighten up and focus on the task at hand of us protesting for a greater cause and what we seen in this situation. And, you know, hearing them talk to him, seeing Chauvin roll his knee and make the man scream like that, you know, to teach him a lesson for whatever happened before that. You know, the man, if he didn't do what they said for forgery, it's still a nonviolent crime, offense, whatever. And they could have just took him down. We don't know the entire facts of the situation. And, you know, pretty much it'll come out in the wash sooner or later, right? But just the fact that, you know, the man was basically pleading and going through pain and screaming, calling on his mom, everything else, nose bleeding, pissing on himself, all that. And Chauvin's up there rolling his knee on his neck until the man died. And he didn't have no remorse. And then his wife, Kelly, want to get on here and act like she's divorcing him. You already know he was that type of person because your brother was up there looking and not doing a damn thing about it. So both you and your brother knew what type of person this man was. You know how many citations he had as an officer. You know how many shootings he had while on duty. You already knew. So don't try to abort the mission now because people threatening your life. You knew. The best thing you can do is go out here and protest that this never happens again. That's the best thing you can do. Don't run and shelter and find refuge somewhere and go and hide because you want to talk about, oh, now I want a divorce because I don't want people damn coming after me and my brother. No, your brother in it too. He stood up there and just watched as everything happened. Like he ain't never led a freaking trash can. He ain't never led a trash can, man. That man ain't led nothing. He just sitting up there watching and he know it's wrong, but he don't want to piss nobody off in the department. It's fucked up. But y'all continue to handle your business. Be safe out there, man. Don't contribute to the problem. Protest for a cause, a common cause, man. Protest for a change. Don't be opportunists going out here with the crowd and a bunch of people that can give a damn about your well-being. Those people that's out there looting the stores, they're not going to sacrifice their life for you. They don't care. That's not what they're out there for. Turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports. Salute.